What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the PT Coffee Cast, brought to you by The Movement. My name is Dalton, and alongside me today is my beautifully bearded friend, William. William, how are we doing today?
Am I that bearded, though? That's the thing.
No, you're not. That's why I hesitated to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the look in your eyes of disappointment.
Yeah. I've reflected on this over the last couple of years, and I've come to accept that it's not your choice. And I think that that's okay. And your beard just tells you what to do when it wants you to, and that's just how it's going to be. So it's not you.
It's not me. It's a way of life.
As you can hear, we have another voice on the podcast today. She's not beautifully bearded.
Thank God.
Yeah. But she is a wonderful person, and we're super excited to have her on the show. Jenna will be joining us today. Jenna, you may have heard Will and I, well, you probably have heard Will and I talk about Jenna many times. She's a massive part of what goes on at the movement. And we're excited to have her on the show to share a little bit of her experience as the client experience manager here, and to speak to that a lot. You guys have heard us talk about the topic of providing, an unforgettable experience. It's something that we really dive into in the mentorship that we're putting out, and I think Jenna can really add some insight to this. So Jenna, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
How's your morning going?
So far, so good. I'm three sips deep in my coffee, so
Only your first one?
only my first.
Wow, I thought you were going to say you're already 3 coffees deep, and I'm like, yeah.
No. I you know what? I skipped that morning coffee this morning when I got up with the dogs at 5 a.m. and so this is number one.
All right.
All right.
Well, that's good.
You're a fellow coffee enthusiast, eh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
It's it used to be one of the requirements to get a job here, but then we decided that we were going to hire people that don't drink coffee.
Balances out. We're all about balance.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we do go through a 5-pound bag every month just between the three of us.
Yeah,
so
we don't need to talk about that. But what we do want to talk about, well, Will, why don't you give a little insight into what we're going to discuss today, and then we'll put Jenna on the hot seat because I know she loves it.
love it.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think, one thing we wanted to do, we wanted to talk about Jenna's role first and foremost, because I think that's something that people, when they get out of school, they don't necessarily think about a lot, that they're going to be working with other people that aren't physios, and like that's a huge part of the job. And the client experience in general is a massive part of being a good quality physio, I think. And someone like Jenna is going to help you a lot when you're going about your day-to-day in enhancing the overall experience. So we just want to talk a little bit about, here from Jenna's point of view, like what she does and what she does here, a little bit about her background and kind of how she arrived at this job. And then we want to go into a little bit more of a specific topic, just talking about this idea of sweating the small stuff. There's that classic quote, "Don't sweat the small stuff." I think we're going to throw a little bit of a different spin on that.
I like that stuff. Okay, well, why don't we start with Jenna? Why don't you give a little insight into how you ended up at the movement?
Well, first and foremost, I started off here as a client. I was seeing Dawn for some lingering low back pain that I had for quite a while, and tried my hand at a couple different therapies before deciding that I needed a different approach. I needed a long-term solution and taking control of it in my own hands. So that's how I ended up here, and then kind of integrated myself into your ecosystem and your community. And then one day you guys were posted that perhaps you were thinking about adding this role to your team, and I think Will, you had my resume and letter of intent about probably 2 minutes after that Instagram story.
Yeah, it was quick.
It was quick.
What like about, I'm not trying to pump our tires. I'm just trying to dive more into that role specifically, you know, because like what was it about where you're like, oh, client experience and like working with this company that you were excited about, that you felt like was like, you know, calling for you to respond so quickly?
All of it. The community, my background, my experience, the year that I spent, you know, in that on that outside kind of role as a client, and really seeing how my experience, my overall customer service philosophy was really going to, you know, like, I'm going to pump my own tires here, was really going to take you guys to the next level. Really believed very much so in what you guys were doing and your philosophy behind how you're tackling healthcare, and knew that while I'm not a physio, that I was going to be an instrumental piece to helping you guys bridge that gap with the client experience there, and take it to the next level.
What were some of your like previous experience, like what was your prior work experience?
My entire life has been in customer service in some way, shape, or form, some field, some industry. You know, from starting working in restaurants when I was 14 years old, and then diving into retail, and then hotel and hospitality from there, and then back to retail, and now here we are too.
What do you think are some of the bigger things you've learned from that experience of working in the service industry, and probably more specifically like person facing quite often?
Yeah, that's a deep question. Wow. Well, for not even halfway through my coffee.
Take another sip. The reason I ask is obviously we're in a service-based industry. We provide a service. We work with people, which I've grown to realize is very it's very like rewarding, but it's difficult. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot that I think you can learn from service-based industries that are applicable to the physio profession, and I don't necessarily think we see maybe the parallels all the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious. That's why I asked.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the big takeaways that I have learned over the years of being customer, consumer, client, front facing is you know, you are there to provide a service, and one of the big things that goes into that comes into a lot of active listening, and how to get the questions out that you need in order to be able to make sure that you are providing this individual the service that they are looking for, and being the person as like an individual as the customer service provider, being the person that individual needs you to be in that moment and in that space of time for what they're going through, whether they're in your shop looking to buy a new backpack, or they're here searching out physio for an injury that they've been dealing with.
I think that's like one of the coolest things I've seen since like you starting here, is just how much you focus on like that why, like, and you just touched on that there, how important that is. It's not just like, you know, it's common misconception, and I think it does an injustice to like your role and what you can do. Mm-hmm. When people just view it as like, this person can just book my sessions for me and bill my sessions. It's like, no, that's not even scratching the surface. It's like, what you do really well is exactly what you just said there. It's connecting with the person and like diving in more than just like, hey, you have a problem, let's book you in for physio. It's like, what's that deeper thing that's driving them, and how can we show them we're in a position to help them, and then like coordinating that with the rest of the team. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's what that like service industry background I think has really helped you with.
Yeah, I would agree. From working the sales floor at Mountain Equipment Co-op, what brings you in today? What are you looking for? Why do you need this? What are your expectations of this product? Those were big pieces in order for me to sell the right product to the right person, and it is 100% transferable here. Just not putting a backpack on their shoulders and sending them out into the backcountry. Here I'm getting to build those connections and identify those pieces to make sure that each and every single individual who's coming through here is like paired up with their physio, or how I like to refer to them as their teammate, throughout the journey that they're about to embark on to get back to what they love.
Yeah, I think there's so much there because one, you are very tied into like the client life cycle here, and you actually play a big role in outcomes for clients. And I think one of the main reasons we've wanted to really talk about client experience and bring it up with clinicians and make it such a big part of our mentorship is to have people realize that those things that you now do and enhance our experience here were already done here by us, but as clinicians with our clients, but now you're coming in here and adding to that role, which has then taken it to the next level, which I think my hope for this conversation, and the more that we have new clinicians or clinics or whoever's like listening to our podcast can see that their front desk, quote unquote, is more than just someone who answers the phone and actually adds value and contributes to outcomes and enhances the life cycle of a client, that starts to shift, and we see a change in like your role as a client experience manager. But even beyond that, I think one of the things is these little things or the way that you approach those phone calls or interacting with clients can be done by a clinician that can enhance a client experience that we know can help outcomes. And so I think that's super important to highlight, because I feel like some people will be like, well, it doesn't matter to me, like I don't have a Jenna,
You can be your own Jenna.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a little Jenna on their shoulder. Just telling them, hey.
And
pick up the phone, make that phone call.
Yeah. And and I want to dive into maybe a little bit about how you see yourself fitting into the client, or how do you fit into the client experience here from your perspective, and the client life cycle and their process through the journey of rehab and taking control of their health. How do you see that?
I'm going to puff my chest up a little bit, but yeah, that's right. I genuinely, deeply from the bottom of my heart believe that I am integrated into every single touch point on that client life cycle, just not in a clinical sense, just not in the clinical sense. I'm the person that, when you do call in for whatever reason, maybe it's a 15-minute check-in with you boys, or walking through the front door, with wherever they're at in their stage, I'm the person that gets to sit down and say, how you feeling? Like, tell me about what's been going on, and offering that outlet of communication for each and every single one of my clients to have. And sometimes I even have clients who walk in here 30 minutes before their session just because they need to sit on the couch and just have a great chat for 30 minutes, and that's what they need, right? And that filters into absolutely every piece, whether that go from their first time walking in here after they've already had a conversation with me on the phone, to halfway through their physio, they've made great progress, to flare-ups happen, maybe they've got a little flare-up and they need to get in touch, and I'm that person that gets to be there to relay that communication and why that's important to them right then and there.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I love it. And I think there's a lot of value to that. And I know people call in, and when I answer their phone, they're quite disappointed that it's not Jenna.
Yeah.
So I always wonder what Jenna and my clients say about me when I'm not around. I feel like Jenna gets a lot of dirt on me if people aren't really happy with what's going on.
Do you really want to know?
No, I don't.
No, okay, cool. Yeah, cool.
No, but I mean, it's like that team involves you too, and you're there for the entire process. You're the first person that they talk to, like 90% of the time, email, phone call, when they come in, and you're there for the down moments. You're there for the high moments, you know.
Those are my favorite pieces. Yep.
Seeing that transformation, you know, and like I think what's cool is like by you being a part of it, it just enhances the experience even more.
Yep.
Right? It's a whole team win.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had an email from a client who had graduated with us a little while ago. She's continued to absolutely crush it with our group training, and she sent me an email a little bit ago, you know, thanking me for getting her connected here. And my first response was like, no, thank you for trusting me to getting you in here and knowing what this journey can be like for you past the rehab of what you were seeing us for and what this is going to mean for your overall life going forward. And we had a really good moment. I really liked that.
I think what's cool is like what I've seen is like how well you're able to just like build relationships with lots of the clients, and it's so invaluable because like little things come up that we don't even see or notice, you know, but you do because you're so well connected with people. And then being able to be like, hey, you know, just so you know, this is going on, right? It's like, you know, those eyes and ears where like it helps us with our sessions, you know, because we're only getting to spend that session with them where like you're getting all that extra time and you're involved with the community too, right? So you're seeing these people out there as well.
Yeah. It's a big piece of one of the pieces of my customer service philosophy, and that is what you introduced is like you have to sweat the small stuff, and that small stuff right there is you know, it contributes to those outcomes that you guys help your clients achieve.
That's that phrase right there, right?
Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Because I like the way we can translate it into like the client experience, but you know, what do you mean by sweat the small stuff?
So there's a story behind this. So while I was doing my pre-service firefighter training up at Conestoga a few years ago, it was intensive and it was great. And one of the key things that the program offered was an opportunity for us to really experience the expectations that are going to be placed on us, not just as public servants, but also as you know, like what the fire service as a whole, what this traditional sisterhood, brotherhood is going to expect of us. And so little things such as, you know, getting not getting yelled at, but, you know, getting the boot for, you know, things like your uniform maybe being a little bit dirty or not straight, forgetting your name tag or wearing your name tag on the wrong side. And the big piece for me was always having a pen in your station shirt pocket. That was one thing that just absolutely drove my instructors nuts. And of course, none of us stuck to it. And I was like, was trying to rack my brain like for almost the full 2 semesters before it hit me of why is this such a big deal? Like, you guys are asking so much of us every single day, from throwing ladders to, you know, being physically fit and prepared for what we're going to be doing, to making sure that we're studying. Why does this pen, why is this like such a tumultuous issue? And and we were in the bay, about to head down to the fire grounds for the day, and we were signing in for attendance, and out of the 36 of us, there were 20 of us just absolutely scrambling, looking for a frickin' pen to sign in for attendance. It was chaos. It was absolute chaos. And that's when it hit me. When I was, after all of this reflection, I was like, oh, okay, so this little pen means so much more than just have it on you. This little pen is absolutely the representation that you have the respect for your team to be prepared. You have the respect to yourself and the pride in the work that you're about to be going forth and doing. This little pen is your outward indication that you are prepared to provide the service that is expected of you, and giving that trust to the community that they know that that's what that is. So that's when it like hit me, and I was like, we absolutely 100% should be sweating the small stuff, because it completely indicates to your consumers, to your clients, to your community, how much you're willing to put into making sure that they're given a great experience, and they can trust you to know what you're doing, and to get you to where you need to be.
Yeah, it's like, you know, if I show up one day and you don't have that pen in your pocket, it's like, how do I know which Jenna I'm getting
Absolutely.
on that day, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I definitely 100% agree with that stuff. And I think I've learned a similar thing over the years and it may be a different story, but we'll save that for a different day because yours was really good. But I think, you know, why it's why it's relevant to this idea of client experience is there's a lot of little things that you can do to enhance a client experience that will make them see the value, or will make them feel special, will make them realize this is the place they need to be, will keep them around longer, which will help them stay connected to you as a clinician, which means that they're going to show up more, and they're going to get better, and they're going to get better outcomes. Like I've realized more and more that it's about how do we continue to enhance an experience to keep people around. We know how to implement rehab principles. Like, that's what we're great at. We know how to do that. How do we get better at keeping people around, communicating our value, showing them that they're the answer, they're the fix. There's not some magical thing that's going to come and save them. I think that's so key. And we kind of try and preach that more and more. And I hope, over the next little while, I think we'll share more and have you on about some of those things that we do, that can improve that experience, that are very, very little, that people are like, oh, everyone probably does that. No one does it. As simple as a follow-up email after every initial assessment. That's a simple thing. Mm-hmm. I promise you not everyone does that. And people are like, oh, yeah, it's a simple thing. Like, no one does it. And I think that goes like such a long way to rounding out a client experience, that when you just say, I don't really feel like writing that email because like I'm tired and it's like there's a lot going on. It's like people notice that shit, and I think that's what we're referring to of like sweating the small stuff. And I think that stuff's powerful too. Mm-hmm.
It reflects that you actually give a shit, and it goes so far to let people know that they're not just a name on a schedule, that you are just as committed to this as they are, and that like the choice and the power is completely within their control, and they can do it. And this entire team is going to be there with them throughout every step of the way.
Yeah, and that's what people are looking for when people come with injury. Like, they need that. Sometimes they don't even realize that they need it, but they need it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I love what we're trying to, like, not trying, I love what we're doing
Mm-hmm.
and trying to share with everyone else to kind of change that perspective. I could go on for days about this stuff, but I think we got to wrap up because I also have a client. And we can't be late to my client because then that would be a bit bad talking about client experience. And
Don't do that. Then you and I are going to have a little bit of a one-on-one later.
Yeah. But to wrap up, I just want to give a shout out to Jerry Durham. If you guys don't know who he is, I'd follow his content. I learned a lot around the client lifecycle, client experience from his content. I've shared that with Jenna when she originally started here, and then we've like kind of built off of that. So if you guys are looking for another resource outside of the stuff that we talk about, he's a great resource when it comes to this stuff. So I just want to make sure we gave him a shout out. And then just to wrap up, guys, make sure that you follow us on Instagram at PT Coffee Cast, subscribe to the podcast on all podcast platforms. If you want to see Will's not so beautiful beard anymore, Jenna's not beard, and my beautiful beard,
yeah, you've done a good job.
Head over to YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then, you guys, if you're interested in the mentorship, you can sign up for the next cohort's wait list. We got our first cohort ready to go. So you can use the link in the bio to sign up for the wait list for our next cohort. And lastly, Jenna, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. And that's all we got for today, guys. Stay caffeinated. Peace.